The click. 4 robot hands were clamped around the rifle. Rico 1 loomed above. Roz lay below, camouflaged in seaweed. For a moment, all was still. And then the hunter suddenly lurched and twisted as he tried to rip the rifle away from his target. But Roz held on. Seaweed fell from her body, and she was lifted right off the ground. Her legs dangled in the air until she pounded a foot and stump against the hunter's broad chest, leaned back and pulled on the rifle with all her strength. Waves crashed as the robots grappled for the weapon, but Roz was no match for Rico 1. The hunter was too big and too brutal. Roz could feel her body being pulled apart, but she could also feel the rifle being pulled apart. A faint glow appeared between her hands. The glow grew brighter and brighter, and then a blinding explosion launched the robots in opposite directions. There they go, look. When the smoke cleared, shards of the rifle were everywhere. Rico 1's body was pocked with holes, and one arm was charred and crippled. Roz's arms and legs had been blown completely off. She was now just a torso and a head. Inside her computer brain, our robot's survival instincts were blaring. Her battered body simply could not take any more damage. Clearly, Roz was not designed for combat, but the Rico was. He pulled himself to his feet and hobbled toward his target. Roz wanted to get up and run away, but without arms and legs, our robot couldn't move. She could only speak. "Please do not deactivate me," she said. Rico 1 ignored her. His blocky hand reached past her face and touched the back of her head. Click. The last rifle. With the target deactivated, Rico 1 calmly moved on to the next phase of his mission. He limped through the gravesite and began collecting every single robot part. He splashed into the shallows and returned with a foot. He shook the sand from a cracked torso. He pulled a head out from a tide pool. Each part was then piled around Roz's lifeless body. Brightbill watched in horror as his mother slowly disappeared under a pile of parts. Roz looked just like the dead robots, but she wasn't dead. She had simply been shut down. "Don't do it, Brightbill," the flock tried to stop their leader. "It's too dangerous." But the goose was determined to bring his poor mother back to life. Brightbill crouched low to the ground and slowly moved toward the pile of robots. And when Rico 1 limped away to collect another part, Brightbill sprinted over the rocks, pushed past arms and legs, and squeezed into the pile. Click! A muffled voice echoed across the shore. "Hello, I am Rosen, Unit 7134, but you may call me Roz." Brightbill hugged his mother's face as her computer brain rebooted. "Mama, wake up!" "What happened?" she said finally. "Where is the Rico? He's coming this way." "What were you thinking, Brightbill? You must leave now before he kills us both." "I was scared, Mama," cried the ghost. "I didn't know what to do." Cried the goose, not the ghost, the goose. "I didn't know what to do." Heavy footsteps stomped toward them. Robot parts were knocked aside, and then Rico 1 looked down with his glowing eyes. Brightbill tried to squirm away, but thick fingers locked around him like a cage. "Mama, help!" cried Brightbill as he was pulled up from the pile. "Please do not hurt my son," begged Roz. "He is harmless." Rico 1 paid no attention to Roz. He just held up the goose in his giant hand, ready to crush the life out of him. Mist swirled in the breeze. Waves sloshed against the rocks. Seagulls circled above. No, not seagulls, vultures. And one of them clutched something silver in his talons. The vultures spiraled down, and Rico 3's rifle clattered onto the shore. Geese and otters quickly surrounded the rifle. They squawked and squeaked and fumbled with the weapon, trying to aim the clunky thing. The hunter was confused. How had those animals gotten a rifle? And could they possibly know how to fire it? They did know. The geese had seen a trigger pressed before. A beam of light briefly flashed through the gloom. At first it seemed as if nothing had happened, but a moment later Rico 1's chest began glowing a brilliant orange, and then it was melting and oozing down his front, and soon there was a wide gaping hole in the middle of his torso. His hand suddenly unclenched and Brightbill fluttered away. Seawater sprayed over the gravesite and steam hissed up from the Rico's scorching hot guts. He shook and twitched and collapsed beside Roz. Rico 1 turned his face to Roz and spoke in a quiet, garbled voice. More Ricos will come for you, and if you destroy them, still more will come. The Makers will not rest until all missing robots have been retrieved. When will they come? Said Roz. How long do we have? You can still be fixed, Roz. Go to the airship. Bring all the robot parts with you. The ship knows what to do. His voice was silent. His eyes went dark. Rico 1 was dead. Now there's a picture. Chapter 76 is next, in the next instalment. The Broken Robot. Will she get fixed?